The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. This is Mike Tipton from Tipton Sports Broadcasting, inviting you to join us on Tuesday, June 10th at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive on the west side of El Paso for all-you-can-eat wings. As a big fat guy, you know I'm going to be stuffing my face, so why not join me and Brandon the Iceman Cone for all-you-can-eat wings? Be sure to tune in to Fire and Ice every Saturday as we talk sports or anything else that might come to mind. At B-Dubs, enjoy the $4 house beer Wild Herd, $5 Bud Lights, and $6 Voodoo Rangers. And take advantage of their $4 Fireball shots.
Fireball.
Happy hour is Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Be sure to try the delicious new sandwiches like the beer cheese, cheesesteak, and chicken parm melt. Plus, all-you-can-eat wings Monday through Thursday until June 26th. $24.99 for bone-in wings, $19.99 for boneless wings, and the fries are included. All you can eat bone-in and boneless wings Monday through Thursday, and Fire and Ice every Saturday at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive. Is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Thursday morning. Yes, Thursday, already here. The perks of a 3-day weekend, coming off the heels of a 3-day weekend. We're already at Thursday. I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great time. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course on Roku via National Streaming Sports. A big shout out to our friends over at National Streaming Sports. Sonia Pearson and the crew doing a fantastic job of keeping everyone with different opinions out there in the sports world. Now, I had mentioned yesterday, and I completely forgot about this, so shout out to AEW for allowing me and my intern Diego to go over there and shoot some photos. Shout out to our guy Beastrilla, One Ass Cheek, Three Toes. Check out their podcast. I wanted to be on the National Professional Sports Show, but I had to take my camera equipment out to the El Paso County Coliseum. All Elite Wrestling was out there. They put on a hell of a show. I can't wait to post those pictures up. I'm just doing some of the cleaning up and some of the other stuff that's going out there to make sure that these pictures are looking as good as they possibly can. As you know, I want to make sure we get a good product out there. It was so much fun being out at the County Coliseum for AEW. The Dynamite was live to millions of people from here in El Paso, and that is one of the more cool things that it's out there. Then, of course, they did the taping for Saturday's show Collision as well. So it was a lot of fun being out there with AEW. Big thank you to them for allowing the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton people, me and Diego, to go out there and take some pictures of everything that was going on. It was a fun time. It was absolutely a fun time. But enough of that. Enough of me talking about all the cool stuff that I get to do. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of sports. The Oklahoma City Thunder are good, huh? There's nothing else to say about it. They're good. And you got to think about this. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they win in the first round by an average of 19.5 points. They win in the second round against the Nuggets. Now, obviously, the games were a lot closer. You had one blowout by the Thunder, but that series was close. And then you fast forward to the Western Conference Final against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that, again, I don't think any of us said would win a championship. And the Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely dominate this series. Yes, they lost a game, and it was an absolute blowout. They lost a game. But they wind up winning this series in 5 games. They do the gentleman's sweep by an average margin of victory of 18.5 points. An average margin of victory by 18.5 points. There was one game in this series that was close. That was game 4, 128-126, a 2-point win for the Oklahoma City Thunder over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just heard a weird noise, and I have no idea where that came from. That is that's going to be problematic as we go on through the rest of the show. Maybe we got another ghost. Maybe the ghost is back. Who knows? Maybe it could be that. Maybe I'll just put in the other headphone, so that way I don't have to worry about hearing random ass noises anymore. There we go. Now I get to hear myself in my own ears, and it's always a creepy time whenever I get to listen to myself. But the Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely dominate the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, if you haven't been watching basketball, you didn't get to see how good Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was. I hope that you have taken the time over this offseason or over this postseason, rather, and got to witness just how good SGA really is, how he can take the team on his back and be the best player, not just on the floor, but in the game. Think about this. Oklahoma City Thunder ends the first quarter 26-9. The Minnesota Timberwolves, that high-powered offense that we were all talking about, that I said maybe just maybe, the Minnesota Timberwolves can do something, held to 9 points in the first quarter. Shout out to Larry Bolton Sports Around the 915 for tuning in over on Instagram. Nine points in the first quarter. Do you know how inept you have to be to score 9 points total in the first quarter? I thought it was a typo. Again, I was at AEW. I didn't even get to watch this game, but I'm getting the alerts, right? I'm watching the score thing that they have, the game cast that ESPN has. And I'm sitting here just watching it, thinking to myself, Jesus effing Christ. That has to be some sort of type, like something got frozen, something was wrong here. There's no way in hell, none, that the Minnesota Timberwolves only scored 9 points in the first quarter. 32 points at halftime. 32 total points at halftime. They scored 32 points in the fourth quarter, trying to make it some sort of a game, but the writing was on the wall. At the end of the first quarter, hell, halfway through the first quarter, you could have turned that game off and knew who was going to win. Like it wasn't even going to be close. I went back, I watched the highlights, and I cannot for the life of me find anything worthwhile. You have your back against the wall. You're the Minnesota Timberwolves. You shouldn't be in a position like no professional team. And this is what makes Oklahoma City scary. This is what makes Oklahoma City clearly the team to beat in the NBA Finals whenever it's either the Knicks or the Pacers. Is they have a great defense, they have a great offense. They can shut down any team anytime they want. But if you have your back against the wall, you better try something, just anything. Even if you got to like go down swinging, start hurting people if you have to. Do something. Sports Around the 915 saying that was crazy. 32 points in the first half is all you were able to muster up. That game was done. Done. Anthony Edwards gets you 19 points. How much of that was just scrub time? Mike Conley got you nothing. Rudy Gobert got you 2 points. Jaden McDaniels got you 5 points. Naz Reid got you something. Dante DiVincenzo, 22 minutes, 6 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 20 minutes and a donut. 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. The rest of the points that were scored by a bunch of scrubs at the end of the bench who got to be in the NBA Western Conference Finals because their team was that damn bad. The Minnesota Timberwolves should be embarrassed that that's the way that they came out. That was the effort they came out. You put up 9 points in the first quarter. That was the effort you came up with, was 9 points in the first quarter. You're back against the wall. The end of your season staring you right down the barrel, and all you could muster up in the first quarter was 9. You got slapped in the mouth and decided, just get in the fetal position and not fight back. But Oklahoma City is really damn good. So maybe they just didn't allow them the possibility of fighting back. Maybe Oklahoma City Thunder, maybe they're the rare team of destiny, right? Where we can look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and say to ourselves, yeah, that team's really damn good. That team might just be the NBA champion, and it doesn't matter. And I was actually talking with my neighbor Carlos today after dropping off the kids at school and everything. And he's asking me, man, what do you think about this NBA Finals? Like, how fun do you think it's going to be? And I genuinely think that the NBA Finals is not going to be fun at all. I genuinely feel like the NBA Finals are going to be just another one of these games, another one of these series that Oklahoma City is absolutely dominant in. I like the Pacers. I like what the Pacers have done. The Pacers have proven me wrong time and time again over this playoff run of theirs, right? I didn't pick them against Milwaukee. I didn't pick them against Cleveland. I'm picking them against the New York Knicks, and they're proving me right in that aspect. But Oklahoma City Thunder just seems to be head, shoulders, torso above everybody else. Above everybody else. It's insane. It is absolutely insane to think about how good the Oklahoma City Thunder are. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 minutes, 34 points yesterday. Chet Holmgren, 22 points in 30 minutes. 19 points from Jalen Williams. Isaiah Hartenstein gets you 8 points. Lou Dort gets you 12 points. Alex Caruso got you 8. Joe Isaiah, whoever the hell that is, or Isaiah Joe, got you 11 points. The bench didn't have to be relied upon in this game. The bench didn't have to do anything in this game. It was all Oklahoma City starters. That's 56, 64, add that 12 to 64, 78, and then add that 19 to that 78. And you've got 97 points out of the 124 that your team scored. 97 points were from your starters. That's what you need to dominate a series. That's what you need to be that damn good. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are that damn good. It is terrifying how good the Oklahoma City Thunder are. It really genuinely makes you wonder if there's any way in hell that a team from the Eastern Conference, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's the Pacers, any team from the Eastern Conference would be able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And to me, I think the answer is flatly no. Like no, they're a buzzsaw. And the scary thing about this is they're so young. They still have so many more draft picks that they can use, that they can trade, that they can do to try to get better. This is just the ground floor. I'm not going to sit here and be like all these other shows that are out there being like, oh, this could be a dynasty, because we haven't seen that in recent times. Tommy Cananza saying Luka and the Mavs would have beat them again. Just saying, just putting it out there, throwing it out there. Luka and the Mavs, we would have won. We would have won. Sports Around the 915 chiming in saying, I doubt that OKC is on fire right now. I think that was the NBA Finals, right? The semifinal matchup in the Western Conference between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That to me felt like that was the NBA Finals. Because either one of those teams you could say would be the better team as of right now compared to the other teams that are remaining outside of Oklahoma City, right? Augustine Pimentel saying Luka and the Mavs would have lost too. Just being angry. Getting angry at Tommy Cananza, not understanding sarcasm. At least I think it was sarcasm. If it wasn't sarcasm, Tommy, you need to go get checked. Oklahoma City is scary, guys. Like they're absolutely scary. And like I said, I'm not going to be one of these people that says, oh, they're going to be a dynasty. There's a real shot that this team could be a dynasty. Look, we haven't had a back-to-back champion in, a decade? Since the Golden State Warriors of, 17, 18? Like, we haven't had back-to-back championships. And you'd have to go all the way back. Oh, it wasn't sarcasm. Man, my guy must have something in his coffee the same way I do. Shout out to early morning alcoholism. I'm joking, Tommy. I apologize. We haven't had a dynasty, a quote-unquote dynasty, since that Golden State Warriors team, right? And you'd have to go all the way back to the Miami Heat of, 13, 14, that were back-to-back champions as well. So it's not like we've seen real legitimate dynasties in this time, right? Like, I want to say we've had 7 different champions since 2019. Let's see, it was the Raptors. Damn, this is where it's going to get testy now. It was the Raptors, it was the Lakers, it was the Bucks, it was the who won after the Bucks? Oh man, this is going to get good. I can't think of who the team was that won after the Bucks. There's a team before we get to Denver, Boston, and then now. Why can't I remember who that team was? And there's the Golden State Warriors. Augustine Pimentel said it's called hard drugs. So think about that. It was the Warriors, then the Raptors, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Warriors, the Nuggets, then the Celtics. We haven't had a back-to-back champion in all that time. Yes, the Warriors have won 2 championships in that 7-year span that I was talking about, but it was 2 different types of Golden State Warrior teams, right? You had that one with Kevin Durant, and then you had the one without Kevin Durant, where it was just like, how did this team wind up winning a championship? I'm sure for a lot of people, it was eye-opening right now to hear that the Golden State Warriors won a championship in 2022. Oklahoma City Thunder do have what it takes right now to kind of be in that conversation for maybe, just maybe, they can start a dynasty. But I'm not going to give them the dynasty talk right now. I'm not going to say it's a dynasty right now, because we've seen in the past that the ownership of the Oklahoma City Thunder are willing to blow up a team. Let's not forget, this is the same team that, 15 years ago had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant, and decided they couldn't pay all of them, so they had to find a way to get rid of some of them. I hope they learn from their past mistakes. They find a way to make sure they're paying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I want to see what the Thunder payroll is. Like, how close are the Thunder to being over the salary cap? It doesn't even look like they're anywhere close to the salary cap. That is what's wild. And we got to figure out okay, so they're right at the salary cap. Right at the salary cap are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Actually, no, they're not. The salary cap is 140. The Oklahoma City Thunder have 114 in salary cap, which is wild. That means they've got more money that they can spend. Obviously, you look at what next season's going to be, and it's just one of those like, damn, this team is really going to wind up being better. But how much are they going to, is ownership in that small market? How much are they going to want to pay to stay in the conversation as like the best team? Is winning a singular championship going to be enough for this team here? You're going to have to wind up paying Chet Holmgren. You're going to have to wind up paying Jalen Williams. You're going to have to pay these guys pretty soon. It's coming around the corner. So is ownership in Oklahoma City, is ownership going to be willing to pay that kind of money? Is ownership willing to do what it takes to keep the team together? And that's what it's going to really come down to with Oklahoma City before we can start talking anything about this dynasty stuff. But again, they're really damn good right now. And it's hard for me, and I wonder if there's anybody out there, anybody really, that can sit back and be like, you know what? I can see a scenario where the Oklahoma City Thunder lose. You want to talk about hard drugs, Augustine? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Hard drugs. Is there a scenario between either the Knicks or the Pacers? I think the Pacers have the better chance. But is there a scenario that there's a possibility that some team out there can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder? Augustine saying it's OKC. That's a no. Is that to wanting to pay players, or is that to being able to beat them right now? Because I don't think anyone's going to be able to beat them right now. If I'm the owner and I have a championship to make some history or a chance at making history, I'm paying these players as much as I can pay them to try, right? Like to just try and do some sort of history. There hasn't been a back-to-back team. Maybe you become that first back-to-back team in a decade, right? Maybe that could be your team. Crazy to think that we're creeping up on a decade of those awesome LeBron James Cavaliers teams taking on the Golden State Warriors teams of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. It's crazy to think that we're coming up on a decade of that, or since that. And LeBron is somehow still playing, and Steph Curry is still playing, and they're playing pretty damn well. Man. I've spent the last 25 minutes basically just over here genuflecting in the direction of the of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's well deserved. It's well earned. That team is they're good. And you cannot deny their greatness. Again, in the Western Conference Finals, they won their games by an average of 18.5 points. By an average of 18.5 points. They're just so damn good. And they're so damn scary. And it's one of those things of it feels like it's theirs to win. But you guys know me. You already know how I am. I want the chaos of a 68-win team. of a team that has been a buzzsaw through the NBA playoffs. I want the chaos of that team losing. I just don't think it's going to happen. Sports Around the 915 over on Instagram saying the only way is if they don't choke, and that could be it, right? Like it could just be they're riding so high that they take Indiana like for granted. Like they don't take them as seriously as what they should. I don't see that being something that would happen with Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City is too good to allow something like that to happen to them mentally, because you saw that's what happened with the Knicks, right? Like the Knicks beat Boston. They come in here thinking that it's just going to be handed to them on a platter, and Indiana slaps them around. Indiana's a fun team to watch. I like watching the Indianapolis Pacers. The Indiana Pacers. I love watching that team. They're a fun team to watch. I could see them running up and down the court. Like, I think it'll be a closer series than 18.5 points per game if it's Indiana versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that the Knicks, though, present a better matchup. Like Karl Anthony Towns taking on Chet Holmgren. I don't care how zestily he might play. He's still a dog at times, as Karl Anthony Towns. Like they've got themselves a team in New York. I just don't think that they're good enough to beat the Pacers. I like Miles Turner. I just like that against Chet Miller or Chet Holmgren, though. I'm not 100% sold on that just yet, right? Like the matchup, and right now I'm crowning already the Indiana Pacers as the team that's going to win tonight, as they're taking on the New York Knicks tonight. I'm already crowning them, and I know I shouldn't be doing that, but it kind of just feels like it's that time, right? Like maybe the Knicks win tonight in Madison Square Garden. Who knows? But it kind of just feels like it's that time. It's time for the New York Knicks to just be sent home. It's time for the Indiana Pacers to not play with their food and to just win the series outright in New York. Send those New York fans home sad, extra sad. It's time. It is time for them. And it's also time for Just the Tip.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just the Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Tommy Carranza, he knew what was coming. I think I hinted at it enough times, Tommy, for you to be able to turn down the volume. You know, I'm looking out for you, Tommy. Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Visit myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout. Save on all your male grooming needs. I'm excited because I am trying, or I will be getting the full body deodorant. I have already got the comfort cream. I've already got the anti-chafe stick. I've got the ball burr to make sure that I am looking as good as I can from head to toe. Not a lot to work with here, but I'm doing what I can to make it look the best that I possibly can. The full body deodorant on its way over here, and I am excited for that. Once again, www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all your male grooming needs. Tommy Cananza saying, great minds, Mike, great minds. That's exactly what it is. I was setting you up, getting you ready for it. It felt like a natural time. I know it was a little early, but an early tip's better than a late tip. The New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers are playing Game 5 tonight at Madison Square Garden. The Indiana Pacers have been dominating this series. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're one lucky shot away from this being a 2-2 series. If my aunt had an appendage that was extra, she would be my uncle. Ifs and buts don't mean jack squat whenever it comes down to what it is. And what it is that the Pacers have a 3-1 series lead with a chance to play the ultimate spoiler by going into Madison Square Garden, going into New York City, beating the Knicks on the road, on their home court, and sending those millions of loud, obnoxious New York Knicks fans home sad. I've said it a bunch of times. There's no better feeling than hitting a bucket that sends people home sad. That game-winning shot that sends people home sad. The only better feeling than that is what the Denver Nuggets did to the Houston Rockets at the beginning of the playoffs. What feels like so long ago at the beginning of the playoffs, where they go into the first quarter and they just beat the dog shit out of the Houston Rockets. Sorry, Roku, but they just beat the brakes off the Houston Rockets. In the first quarter, you go in there, you dominate. You take the crowd out of it. You start watching them leave halfway during the third quarter. In my veins. And then you send John Halliburton out there, Tyrese Halliburton's dad. You send him out there so that way he can start, just egging on Knicks fans. You do it in my veins. I am here for it. Play that bad spoiler. Do it tonight. Tommy, I've got the cigar right here, ready to pull the top off, ready to open it up, so that way we can light this thing up and we can be trolling Stephen A. Smith. What goes around comes around, my guy. I can't wait for the millions of people that are going to do what I'm going to do. Smoke a cigar and laugh. Smoke a cigar and laugh. I might even just renew my subscription to X so that I can go live on X smoking a cigar. Need to do that. That's actually really cool what happened with me right now. I got an alert right here that the Real Fit Fam invited me to collaborate on a post, which is awesome. Diego doing a great job as a photographer. If you didn't catch the early part of the show, I said that the reason why I wasn't on the National Professional Sports Show yesterday with Sonia Pearson and the crew over here at National Streaming Sports was because I was at AEW having myself a fun time, taking pictures, doing all kinds of fun stuff out there with Diego, the intern that does a bunch of stuff for me. He's put up a bunch of or he's taken a bunch of pictures of the locomotive, doing stuff with Cinta de Oro promotions as well. And obviously yesterday with AEW. So it's been a real fun time with all the wrestling stuff and everything we've got going on as well. He's going to be helping me out with my soccer coverage. He's been doing a great job with the locomotive. He went and covered the Bravos a couple of times. He even came and was on the sideline with Club America. Tommy Carranza saying show some pics. I don't have them on this computer, Tommy. I have them on my MacBook. This is a Windows computer. I have them on my MacBook. But if you go over to Instagram at Mr. Tipton 33, you can see some of the pictures that we have. I want to see if I could maybe send one that I have here on my phone. I'll try to send it to myself. I thought that this was an awesome picture because I like wrestling. I am not going to be one of those people that pretends I don't like wrestling. I love me some wrestling. Obviously, I have a show called Bob, Jim, Pat Get Drunk on the Internet where I watch old wrestling with my friends. So I'm going to try to send this to myself right now because I thought that this was just a fantastic picture. The storytelling, things like that happens in wrestling is what I like, right? Getting it? Just trying to save the picture here real quick, Tommy. Stop yelling at me, Tommy. Jeez. I get it. You want me to save a picture. And the thing is like I haven't been watching AEW. So I didn't really know all of the storylines, all the anything like that was going on. I wasn't really in it. But this is a picture that I took yesterday. You can see old boy bleeding out of his head right here. He's on the top rope. He's about to do a backflip and everything. And he's just playing in with the crowd, man. He's having himself a good old time. Sports Around the 915 saying, I can talk wrestling all day. I'm with you on that one, man. I am with you on that. I can talk wrestling all day. I think tomorrow, Tommy, what I'll do is I'll just have like a little a little video that goes over some of the pictures that I took yesterday. But like I said, like I just love this picture. He's got the headgear on. The whole crowd was chanting, "You look stupid." Do 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 do. Like it was a great crowd for what was happening here in El Paso yesterday with AEW. Tommy Cananza saying, "Nice, that's a good picture." I got a couple more. I haven't edited this picture just yet. I'm going to make the blood a little bit brighter and stuff like that. But I really liked that picture in particular. I'll go ahead and remove that. There you go. And instead of seeing some guy bleeding, you get to see my ugly mug. So even better. But I think tomorrow what I'll do, Tommy, is I got some time today. I'll edit some of these pictures. I'll put like a little reel together. I was going to put it up on my Instagram, but I think I'll put it here on the show as well. There you go. That's exactly what I was thinking there, Tommy, giving out those Steiner bro vibes, like Rick Steiner, putting them on. And this is the thing is like, I don't know a lot of the wrestlers in AEW, but it was fun. The Crooked Commission saying, "Yo, what's good? It's been a minute. Got a new job position. Does not allow me to listen as much as I want. Trust me, my guy. I totally get it. I understand how that goes. Work is work, and work is always going to be more important than hanging out with this show. But we appreciate whenever you can tune in and be a part of the show. Not everyone. Everyone's got to get a job like Augustine. Everyone's got to get a job like Augustine. I will say that. That's why there's a part of me that wants to move to Guadalajara, Mexico, just so that way I can hang out over there, vibe, have me a good old time. Just got to get more sales in. As soon as I start getting more sales, your boy's moving to Mexico. Tommy Cananza giving some love to the Crooked Commish. I always love seeing that, man. Like I love this little community that we have built here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Whether you're watching on Instagram, like Sports Around the 915, Victoria Holguin, Evan George Vahurius, and Larry Bolton. If you guys don't know who Evan George is, he was actually in Ozark. Tommy Cananza saying, "You mean unemployment?" Talking about Augustine Pimentel. I thought it was his OnlyFans. Augustine's on OnlyFans. That's what I heard. He's got great feet for such an ugly man. But I guess if you're going to be fugly, you got to have something that looks good. So why not? Augustine also letting us know that he hates wrestling, despite the fact that last week he called me on the phone and was like, "Hey, I'm watching wrestling right now. Penta, AJ Styles, all this stuff." He was having himself a good old time watching wrestling and then wants to come on here and tell me he hates wrestling. Shout out to 4Count1X joining in over on Instagram as well. Shout out to y'all for being a part of it. Augustine saying, "Ha ha 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 ha," laughing at it, saying he's his only subscriber. Hey man, it don't matter if you subscribe to yourself, as long as you got one. It makes it seem like somebody wants somebody wants the goods, even if it's just yourself. At least you got to have confidence enough to know I'm buying my own feet pictures. Also, I'm not going to be out here judging people. I don't get people that like feet pictures. I don't get it. I'm not into feet. James Pass joining in over on Instagram. I can only imagine the people that have just tuned in right now, whether you're doing that on Roku, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is. And your introduction into the show today was some guy talking about feet pictures because Augustine Pimentel has been selling his feet pictures for a couple $100 a shot. My little brother, Stephen Graham, saying, "I haven't really watched wrestling since the good old Stone Cold Steve Austin days. Ever since he was drinking a beer and a couple of Steve Weisers, he wasn't watching wrestling. And stomping a mud hole in your ass." I don't even know if that was a good Stone Cold impersonation, but that was I feel like that was solid. I'll give that like a 6. I'll give that a 6. Tommy Cananza saying he hasn't watched wrestling since the Monday Night Wars. And you see, that was the thing is like, right, like I watched the Monday Night Wars. That's what I grew up with was the Monday Night Wars, watching all of that stuff, right? Augustine made $200 off of selling his feet pictures yesterday. That's my guy. That right there, everybody, is the entrepreneurial spirit that everyone needs to have. Good for you, Augustine. Good for you. I'm glad you got that bunion polished out. But I grew up the same way, watching the Monday Night Wars, thinking like, the Attitude Era, all that was the best era of wrestling. And I went a good, decade or so plus without watching wrestling, got back into it. And I want to say 2012, whenever you had Rock versus Cena, which I thought was going to be really fun. Tommy Kanatsu saying it was more like 200 pesos is what Augustine got. Stephen Graham letting me know that that Stone Cold impersonation was spot on. Hey, I appreciate that. A little bit of love for the Stone Cold impersonations that I was doing. I still don't think it's as good as this. Nothing out there will ever be as good as this is. Dollars and pesos are not the same. Just reminding Augustine about that. Dollars and pesos are not the same. But I went, like I said, a good decade or so without watching wrestling. Got back into it in like 2012. And like now it's I put it on. I'm caught up with most of the storylines, at least in the WWE. Got to do more diligence in watching AEW. I was a huge AEW guy when it first started. Obviously, my son's name is Jericho. Chris Jericho's in AEW. Really disappointed I didn't get to see Chris Jericho yesterday, but it is what it is. C'est la vie, mon ami. Well, man, that was a fun time yesterday, watching wrestling at AEW, having myself a good old time. Augustine saying it was 4,000 in pesos. 4,000 pesos. Hey, it doesn't matter how you get your money. Just get your money, dude. That's all I'm saying. Hey, just go out, get your money. Sell your feet pics. Everyone out there should be selling feet pics. I say this all the time because I'm a goofy-looking dude, right? I say this all the time. Even if 1% of the world's population found you sexy, that's 7 million people. Think about that. 1% of the world's population finds you sexy. That's 7 million people. That means you got 7 million opportunities of somebody buying your content on OnlyFans. I had an OnlyFans for a little while. This might be the first time I've mentioned that on this show, but I had an OnlyFans for a little while. Didn't make any money off of it. Shows how much my math skills do for me. That 1% did not work for me. My 1% must be in a place that doesn't have access to the internet. The Marshall Islands, they just got tariffed, 100% tariff on the penguins. Only the penguins find me attractive on Marshall Island. Oh, I'm an idiot. Sorry, Roku, but not really. You already know who it is. Augustine saying for me, it's 42.3%. I love the confidence. We all know better than that. We all know much better than that. Again, the New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers. How the hell did we get on that conversation? Shout out to Grizz Fields, who tuned in over on Instagram as well. Augustine saying that he is attractive to 84% of the women in the world. 84% of the women in the world find Augustine Pimentel attractive. I am more than willing to do whatever it is to put that to like we'll get a picture of Augustine, walk around downtown El Paso, and be like, do you find this man attractive? Do you find this man right here attractive? And I feel like 84% of them will say, oh my God, yes, I do. Tommy Kanatsu saying 42.3% of 0.000000001, whatever decimal point that is, of one. Augustine's a good-looking man in the dark. So, I mean, you got that working for you. And he's a lot of man to love. Just a lot of man to love. The New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. The Knicks, a 5.5-point favorite to win. Actually, I'm looking right now. The spread says 4.5 points. I don't know why they have a 5.5 point, but it's 4.5 points on the spread for the New York Knicks over the Indiana Pacers. And I keep thinking about this with the Knicks and the Pacers because it's been fun for me because I hate on the New York Knicks. I hate the New York Knicks fan base. I think they're super annoying. The fact that you have a parade because you beat the Boston Celtics is kind of pathetic, right? It's kind of pathetic. And I get it. The New York Knicks haven't done jack squat in, 3 decades, 5, 6 decades since they've won an NBA title. So I understand a little bit as to why the New York Knicks might be excited about this stuff. But, I just hate that stuff, right? Like act like you've been there before a little bit. You don't have to have a parade because you beat the Boston Celtics in the second round of the playoffs. So I've been enjoying watching the Pacers just slap this team around and having themselves a good old time. I think that continues today. I think that the Indiana Pacers close this series out today. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The Indiana Pacers close out the New York Knicks today in Madison Square Garden. Jalen Brunson is a great offensive player, but is rated the worst, player 147 out of 147 in defense. His defensive rating is the worst of players in the playoffs. You cannot rely on that type of, you need a full balanced team in this. And it's not saying that Tyrese Halliburton's the best defensive player in the NBA, but he gives you a better option on defense than that of what the Jalen Brunson gives you. And then Karl Anthony Towns is equally as bad. You cannot have both of these guys on the court at the same time because it's proven that you cannot win with both of these guys on the court at the same time. So for me, if I'm the Indiana Pacers, I know that the Knicks have their back against the wall. They have to have Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the court at the same time. And if you look at what the Pacers have been doing, Tyrese Halliburton will go through whatever amount of screens he has to go to make sure he gets Jalen Brunson on him. They are targeting Jalen Brunson. And then whenever you go through the rotations on your screens, you can see that the New York Knicks have very bad defensive discipline. Very bad defensive discipline. They're a great offensive team. They're not a great defensive team. And that right there is why I believe that the New York Knicks are going to lose to the Indiana Pacers at home today. Tommy Canonza saying, Cat, a little zesty, super zesty. Super zesty. I got no problem saying that. My guy, it's cool if you are. Just live your life out loud right now, because right now you're not doing it. You gotta, come on. It's obvious. All of us know. Tommy Canonza saying, even Bane, who was born in the dark, knows what's up. I was born in the darkness. You merely adopted it. I feel God, I have to do it like this. That always reminds me of one of my favorite stoner movies. We're the Millers, I want to say, is what the movie is called. Brunson played for the Mavs too. Another blunder on the Mavs front office. Think about that. The Mavs had Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic on their team, and somehow, some way, fumbled both of them away. Man, the Mavs are... Ugh. You know what? Just based off of that, Nico should have been fired a long time ago. Should never be able to get a job in the NBA, like not even as an analyst. Tommy Canonza saying, you're pretty good at impressions, Mike. Yeah, I try. I try every now and then. Why, there's no drugs here. Augustine Pimentel saying, hey, that was a good Bane. I have done that before in the past. Whenever I was doing radio, I didn't do it as much because I always felt like, you got to be prim and proper, and you got to do all the stuff that you got to do, brother. But for me, it was like I wanted to show off a little more of that personality. But as you're building the show, you got to wait, right? Like, I feel like now we're a decade into this. You all should already know who I am. We can do more and more and more of these things. Grizfield saying there's a theory they are trying to move the team to Vegas. Wow. We're talking about the Dallas Mavericks here, moving the team over to Vegas. Mireya Reyes saying, nice hat, go UTEP. Tips up, picks up, baby. That's the way that we do it over here. And then Grizz goes on to say, since the majority of the owners come from there and have owned casinos. That's actually something that we have spoken about before in the past, Grizz, was that the Adelson family, they come from, casino magnates. And that was part of some of the stuff that's gone out there. You know what? I think I've been on Roku long enough that I can start talking about my weird conspiracy theories. Here we go, guys. Let's go into conspiracy theory time. So the Adelson family owns a bunch of casinos, not just in Vegas, but in Thailand, a bunch of other places like that. They get their money from casinos, from gambling. Now, the theory that's out there is that the Adelson family forced Nico Harrison to trade Luka Doncic to drive the value of the Dallas Mavericks down because they want to build a new arena that has a casino in it and legalize gambling in Texas. Now, you might say, Tip, that's absolutely insane. There's no way that that's going to happen. Au contraire, mon frere. Now, if you remember back in February, Governor Abbott of Texas actually signed in that he might be on board to allow gambling in the state of Texas. Why? Because if you lose the Dallas Mavericks from Dallas, they move to Vegas, whatever it is, you lose a valuable franchise, a franchise that has history in it. Why would the Adelsons want Texas to legalize gambling? Because now you have a whole new market, over 45 million people that would be able to use your program for gambling, whether it's online apps, whether it's going to the actual casino in Dallas, or whatever it is that you would have to do. That's what the Adelson family is looking at right here, right? You can talk about maybe they move the team to Vegas. It's not about moving the team to Vegas. It's about threatening to move the team to Vegas, right? They're trying to go the Oakland Athletic route of we're going to threaten to leave, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll get ourselves what we want, because the Dallas Mavericks are a valuable franchise to the state of Texas. You like having the 3 NBA teams in the state of Texas. The NBA does not want a team to move. The more that teams move, the more it makes the NBA feel like there's instability. The NBA does not want instability. Build your arena wherever you want to build your arena, as long as it's in your original city. They don't want teams moving all over the place because that creates instability. So now the Adelson family has the ability here to be on the ground floor of introducing legalized sports gambling in the state of Texas. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. And it's going to be awesome to sit back and watch to see how this all goes. Going over to the comment section, my guy Minor Mike saying Vegas has the real estate and is growing interest in expanding. Grizfield saying, yeah, they're trying to bring them here in Texas, bring in gambling here in Texas. They don't care about the team. They just want more money. And that's really what it comes down to. You want more money. That's what it comes down to. More money, more money, more money. The Adelsons, if they were to be on the ground floor of introducing gambling, legalized sports gambling into Texas, introducing legalized sports gambling to 45 million new potential customers, even if you got 1% or 10% of that 45 million, that's 4.5 million people there. Tommy Cananza asking, so why would the NBA allow the Adelson family to move to Vegas? Why? Because money talks. And they have so much money to be able to do it. But what I think right here is that the NBA wants an expansion franchise in Vegas, which will allow them to have an expansion franchise somewhere else on the East Coast, right? Like that's kind of what it is. You have to kind of balance these things out. Or they might move the Memphis Grizzlies to the East. And you bring in this expansion franchise to Vegas, you have to bring in an expansion franchise. You got to bring in 2. It can't just be 1. You got to bring in 2 to keep the balance of power here. I don't think that they'll allow eventually, I think what's going to happen is that the state of Texas will acquiesce and will say, look, I know we're going to keep marijuana illegal, but we're going to legalize sports gambling in Texas because it creates so much more revenue than not having gambling in Texas would. Grisfield saying the GM from Dallas is the fall guy. Now, again, this is just my thoughts, right? My conspiracy theory on all this. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how it goes. It sucks that we did it this late in the show. Tommy Cadanza saying, what city on the East Coast would get an NBA team? I mean, you can think of like cities like Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. I would even go on to say like there's a few there. Nashville would be a good one to have. Like, I know 2 teams in Tennessee might seem a little odd. Maybe you add another one into Florida. Jacksonville is always a good option for there as well. Like, I feel like there's a lot. Let me do some research on this, Tommy, because I'm up against the clock. But I think we'll come up with a new list, and we can talk about that tomorrow for what it is that we want to do. Charlotte already has a team. Grisfield was asking that. Charlotte already has a team. Remember, the Charlotte Hornets are back. Tampa would be a good city for it as well. Like, I think that there's a long list of cities that are there. Like, you might even add another team to a city that's already got a franchise, right? Okay. So there we go. We've got a lot of stuff that we can talk about for tomorrow's show. Everybody, I want to remind you that on Saturday we're going to be live doing Fire and Ice from Buffalo Wild Wings, and on June 10th, Brandon the Iceman Cone and myself will be live at Buffalo Wild Wings as well. We're not going to do a show. We just want to hang out with y'all for all you can eat wings. Augustine's going to be there, and I'm inviting all of y'all to join us out there as well. I might have some giveaways as well. We might be giving away Texas Rangers tickets while we're out there, and I'm going to try to get some stuff from the El Paso Chihuahuas and the El Paso Locomotive to give away while we're out there as well, having a good old time with all you can eat wings. I want to thank you all so much for being a part of today's show, and we will see you all tomorrow. This is Mike Tipton from Tipton Sports Broadcasting, inviting you to join us on Tuesday, June 10th at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive on the west side of El Paso for all-you-can-eat wings. As a big fat guy, you know I'm going to be stuffing my face, so why not join me and Brandon the Iceman Cone for all-you-can-eat wings? Be sure to tune in to Fire and Ice every Saturday as we talk sports or anything else that might come to mind. At B-Dubs, enjoy the $4 house beer Wild Herd, $5 Bud Lights, and $6 Voodoo Rangers. And take advantage of their $4 Fireball shots.
Fireball.
Happy hour is Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Be sure to try the delicious new sandwiches like the beer cheese, cheesesteak, and chicken parm melt. Plus, all-you-can-eat wings Monday through Thursday until June 26th. $24.99 for bone-in wings, $19.99 for boneless wings, and the fries are included. All you can eat bone-in and boneless wings Monday through Thursday, and Fire and Ice every Saturday at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive.